Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to our webinar for the BCom CPA tonight. And thank you for coming. I know it's gorgeous weather here in Alberta, so hopefully you're finding the same thing where you are. We'll try to keep this as short and sweet as we can so you can get on with your busy lives and enjoy some of the sunshine. My name is Cheryl Christensen and I am the Coordinator of Advising Services here at the Faculty of Business at Athabasca University. But before we get started, I just want to know if you can hear me well and see the slide on your screen. So you're going to practice using the questions box there on your screen. And let me know if you can hear and see everything okay. So you should be seeing a picture from our convocation ceremony actually with the big capital letters say undergraduate. So if a few of you could just type in the questions box and let me know everything's okay. That would be very appreciated. Okay, yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, sounds good. Okay, great. So I think we're good to go ahead. A few housekeeping items. All attendees, you would have heard when I started the broadcast, are in listen-only mode. So you won't actually be able to speak with us directly, but you'll be able to type your questions in that question box you had just practiced using on your screen. And we'll keep all those for the end of the presentation. So maybe just try to jot down things that you might have questions about. And if they're not answered throughout the presentation, then certainly ask those at the end. So we try to stay within about a 1 hour time slot, but we are willing to stay extra time for any questions you have. So certainly understand if you have to take off or leave right after the presentation portion, but I do think there's a big benefit to hearing the other questions asked and the answers as well. So if you can stay, we'd love to hear from you and love to hear your questions. One other note before we get started, and I put it in the chat box, but there is a handout of tonight's presentation available. So the PDF download is there for you in the handout section. So you don't have to be madly writing everything down either. If you have that downloaded, you can write on there and know you have all the information there that you'll need. Okay, and with that, I will get started. So a little bit about what we'll be covering today. So as I mentioned, my name is Cheryl and I coordinate our advising office here of the senior program advisors. So there are 6 of them within our student support center here in the Faculty of Business. So I'll be presenting today about Athabasca University and the Faculty of Business and the programs we offer you in accounting and how that can fit in with the CPA. Why you should choose AU, and yeah, how we fit in with the CPA program. And then I'll pass it off to Erica Barlow, who's here with CPA Alberta, to talk in more detail about the CPA and what it has to offer you as well. So I thank Erica for joining us tonight as well. As she told me it is a very nice evening there in Calgary where she is as well. So I'm going to go ahead actually and launch a poll because I would like to know a little bit more about you. And we do try to keep this a little interactive, so it's not just me speaking there out to you. So you could just let us know if you're in a program already, which one that is, or if you're just interested in finding out more tonight. That kind of helps us get a better understanding of who's on the session tonight. I'll just give you a few more seconds to vote there and fill out that poll. Okay, so it looks like most of you have voted, so I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah, we got 100%. Okay, great. There, we already earned 100% tonight. Okay, so about 29% of you said, yes, I am a current BCom student. So that's good. And another 71% said, no, I'm not an AU student. Okay, So that is good for me to know because it's useful to understand the programs we do have available and how to apply them. So I will go into some of that throughout my portion of the presentation. And those of you that are already a BCom student with us, congratulations. I hope you attended our welcome webinar as well. That was yesterday evening. We hold those monthly as well. So you'll just want to be checking our events page on our Faculty of Business website for different things going on and available to you to find out more. Okay, some quick facts about Athabasca University. So we have over 47,000 learners, and that's back in 2017-18, and we're up about 15% from that. So we're growing tremendously. We've been very, very busy, especially here in the Faculty of Business. And we were established actually way back in 1970 by the government of Alberta. So we are a public university. Our credits are transferable to other universities throughout Canada, and we're one of the comprehensive academic and research intensive universities in the province. So along with U of A and U of L and U of C, and we offer over 900 courses and 90 programs. So way we're a little bit different is that we are dedicated to the removal of barriers. We have an open admission policy, which means we don't need to see your high school transcripts or grades. We kind of let you in the door, and it's up to you to do well and focus your efforts and complete your programs. So as an AU business student, you will benefit from the flexibility of our distance and online education, but you can also continue to focus on your professional and personal life while you pursue those educational goals. So that's how we're a little different. This slide just covers off a bit of our accreditation because it is a common question, especially for newcomers or those wanting to find out more about our institution in general. You certainly want to ensure that the institution you're attending is reputable, credible, and like I said, able to transfer to other institutions as well. So we have many program students here. We also have a lot of non-program students. So we call those visiting students or not in a program. They're picking up courses for their programs elsewhere. So like I said, many of our courses are transferable across Canada. And we're a member of all those different associations you see on your screen as well. So we are a respected and recognized university, and we do have that proven track record. We have been around for a long time, and we've been doing distance learning for a long time, whereas others are just kind of starting to get into it. Yeah, I love this slide because it really focuses on our main advantages and really what our niche is. So again, the open admission policy. And you just have to be 16 or older, and you're able to be admitted to our programs. And our online courses can be taken from anywhere, anytime, as long as you have an internet connection or able to get one at different points throughout your course. The flexibility of our year-round admissions and course registrations is certainly different from any other institution you would have heard of or gone to. We have our monthly course registrations, so we start every month. You're not waiting for a semester to start. There isn't upfront tuition either. You pay for each course as you register in them. And we still have that dedicated resource available to you and staff available to you to help support you throughout your courses and program. So just because we're online doesn't mean we don't have all those supports. We still have the full library resources. We have the program advisors I already mentioned. We have IT resources, and certainly your academics. So a full range of faculty here with PhDs and masters to help you with master your course content and any questions you have regarding your academics. And we also have generous block transfer agreements with diplomas throughout Canada and everywhere really. And we do have students all over the world. And another thing to keep in mind, that is, as long as you take one course a year, you'll remain active in your program with us. So everything's flexible, everything's according to your schedule and your life. Like I said, courses start all the time, so you're never really waiting to start, and you can have different courses going at different times, or as I mentioned, take one course a year to stay active. So only you really know what you can handle and what you're able to maintain and do well in with your studies and what you can manage. So usually we do suggest starting with one course if you don't need to be a full-time student, just so you get a feel for how things work, how to set up all your course and your exams and all that stuff. So you're set up for success and don't get into too much right from the start, because you can certainly add more courses as you go. So why AU? So I covered most of these, I think, in the previous slide. But again, the thing I would stress is that the pace really is your own, and it's up to you to get the work done. If you have a goal in mind and you're dedicated and committed to that goal, you will pursue and get it done. And to just know that you have a full supportive staff here behind you to help you achieve that goal. So our Student Support Center is always available to you here in the Faculty of Business. It's your one-stop shop for all your help and questions, and they funnel your questions on to the correct areas. So it really helps answer questions efficiently, expediently, and well. So I'll explain a little bit more about those course starts. So they start the first of each month, and the deadline to get that first start date is always the 10th of the previous month. So for example, June 10th is our next cutoff coming up for a July 1st start date. And by that, I mean your official start date. So as long as you register by that time, that is the start date you would receive. And then you get 6 months to complete that course from July 1st. So that's, again, according to your own schedule and how you can complete whatever's required for that specific course. If you get it done sooner, great. And just so you know as well, you have the ability to extend that course if you need to. Of course, there's fees for that, and we don't want to see you doing that if you don't have to. So again, another reason why not to take on 2 more than you can handle. So again, the 6 months to complete. The only disclaimer I'd have to this information is if you're going through financial aid. So if you're getting a student loan, you will have stricter timelines to go off of, more like a traditional institution. So you'll have to be in a minimum of 3 courses to have full-time funding, and you'll have to get those done within a 4-month time frame. So that's the exception, and things are certainly done different if you are being regulated by those finance requirements. Otherwise, it's all up to you. Like it says on the screen, you can jump right in with a full course load or complete one at a time. So especially if you know a certain time of year is busy for you, you know you can make up for that a little later in the year. So yeah, you're really not constrained by class times, semesters, or standard years of study here with us. You work on your courses wherever and whenever you wish, so you can complete your degree in 2 years or 10 years. You know, it's all up to you. And our students are a little bit different than a regular student body from college or university, let's say, on site, because most of our students are working professionals, or they're transferring already from a college or university they've attended somewhere else. So maybe they went through that initial, just out of high school educational experience, and now they're ready to do something different, or they have a different focus in mind, different goal. And like I said, most of you are working or have other commitments that don't allow you to attend a regular class or semester-based institution. And lots of our learners are also lifelong learners, of course. So it's really simple to apply, actually. So for those of you that haven't applied yet, that was the majority of you really tonight, you can apply anytime. You'll really be able to find the application on any screen you're on our website. So step one is really to apply to become a student. So when you go through that application, it is integrated with Apply Alberta, or APAS we call it. So it goes through there because you have to have an Alberta student ID number. So even if you're on Ontario or wherever, but it's pretty seamless. It just goes to their site and then it goes back to ours through that process. And once you're registered, or once you've applied, you actually get an ID number and you can actually proceed with registering in courses. Of course, you don't want to do that if you have transfer credits to assess or have requested an evaluation on your application. So the application fee itself is $115. That's a one-time fee. So even if you end up changing your program or coming back later, you won't have to pay that fee again. And same with the evaluation fee. So the evaluation fee is $110, and that's to assess your transfer credits. So if you already attended college or university somewhere else and you want us to look at those and apply what we can to your program here, that's part of that fee. So that's all done within the application. You'll see it'll ask you those questions as you go through that process. Really straightforward, really simple. And yeah, once you applied, you have that ID number for life, really. So then you're able to register in courses right away. So a bit about how the accounting fits in and why you're here tonight is because you're interested in accounting. So this just explains a little bit about the history of the accounting profession. So many of you have probably heard of CGAs, CMAs, and CAs. So there used to be 3 designations in Canada, and they all joined forces. And the group that Erica is now belonging to is the CPA, so Chartered Professional Accountants of Canada. So they have the same regulations now across Canada, and it's certainly made our lives a lot easier here as advisors at our institution, because as I said, we have students all over Canada and really the world. So it really makes the requirements more straightforward, all consistent, and we can help advise students a lot easier now. And I just think it was a good move forward for the organization. So I do commend them for that and thank you for that. The new degree requirement with those changes was that you have completed an undergrad degree with at least 120 credit hours. So something like our BCom, Bachelor of Commerce with the accounting major, would meet that requirement. It's a 120 credit hour degree, or 4-year degree is what you're looking for. But don't be discouraged if you already have a degree, but maybe it's outside of business, or maybe it's a degree that was only a 3-year degree. You can certainly make up those credit hours as well by taking any of the preparatory courses that you're missing and still be on your way towards your designation. And those can certainly be done with us. I won't touch on that too much because I know Erica will be doing more within her portion of the presentation as well. So becoming a CPA, the way we fit in is we're giving you those prerequisite courses before you enter the CPA's professional program. As I said, you have to have that degree and the courses that they're looking for. So we offer you those courses so you can fit them within your degree if you don't already have one, or build on a degree that you may already have. And the programs that we offer in accounting range, so you can start with a smaller program like our accounting certificate program and work up into your Bachelor of Commerce. It all builds into each other, so we call that laddering. So you take the certificate in accounting, you can build that into the BCom later and know that everything will fit, that you're not taking anything extra. You're just earning credentials along your way, so it doesn't seem like such a long road. And sometimes that's nice to have just a shorter stepping stone like that. and smaller goals to reach for along your way towards your bigger goal. We also offer ACAP completion. So that's the certificate in accounting and finance that the CPA awards and offers. So we'll get into that in some more detail as well. So these are all the different certificates that we actually have right now, but the ones you're probably most interested in tonight are the accounting certificate and advanced accounting certificate. So you can do the certificate in accounting, build that into the degree program, or you could take the certificate in accounting and the certificate in advanced accounting and build that into the Bachelor of Commerce, for example. So the two of those certificates together really amount to the same credit worth as a diploma. We just do not offer a diploma program here. So they're offered as two certificate programs instead. But they certainly all fit within our Bachelor of Commerce, the major in accounting. So with taking that major in accounting, you're essentially taking the guesswork out of what courses you do need to take, as we kind of make sure we've covered all those CPA requirements within there. It satisfies the CPA degree requirement, and you can get transfer credit in by course if maybe you didn't complete a credential somewhere else, or it's done by block transfer if you have a business diploma, for example, or something. So a 2-year business admin diploma will essentially get you 2 years worth of credit here. So that's what I meant from earlier when I was mentioning our generous transfer agreements as well. And you can cover all your prerequisite courses you need. So the ACAF, so you're gonna hear lots of acronyms today. So AU is Athabasca University. I might refer to FB, which is Faculty of Business. CPA is the Chartered Professional Accountants. And ACAF is one of the credentials that they award, which is the Advanced Certificate in Accounting and Finance. So whether you're a new college graduate from a 2-year program, working in an accounting function, maybe you don't have a recognized credential, or you're an internationally trained accountant, sometimes that ACAF program will fit nice for you. Maybe you're not intending to get the full designation or go that far with your accounting. It's kind of a mid-level, mid-tier recognition of the amount of work you've done in that accounting stream. So the PSIs, the post-secondary institutes, are the ones offering those courses that you need for that program. We're still working on some of the courses in the applied area, which we'll show you later if you need. But as those come on, they're certainly in development. We're letting you know when those become available as they're ready. But certainly if you're starting from the beginning, you have lots of time before you'll ever need those applied courses because they're at the end of the program. It's just kind of a transition period right now because CPA was offering those. So now it's they've kind of handed it off to the post-secondary institutes to offer those for them. Okay, so I really like this slide as well because it kind of shows you how to earn your CPA or the path to get there and where we kind of tie in. So you'll see the undergrad degree is the first thing, and you can either have that degree with the subject area coverage in accounting, which is great. You just move right into their professional program. Or if you don't have all the courses you need, then you get those with us as well. And then once you're there, so the degree is one phase and getting all those courses you need to have covered. And then you're in the CPA professional program. So that's their own program they offer. We don't have anything to do with that part of it. You're taking that with them then after. So those courses I was mentioning that need to be, well, hopefully preferably within your degree, but sometimes you might need to take them after, or especially if you already have a degree or you've covered some of them in your other education and still need to pick some up. These are what they would translate to with us. And I give the link there, so if you downloaded that PDF, document, you'll be able to access this link and get all these courses for yourself. You'll certainly want to keep an eye on them. And if they do change, we do always keep that up to date on our website. So as you're going through your program and working on these courses, you want to make sure that you're taking the appropriate courses at that time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And another thing I would note is the minimum grade requirements. So always make sure, I always just say, do as best you can. That should always be what you're aiming for. You should never be setting your standards on the low end. You should be setting them on the high end. So we always want you to get at least a C+ minimum. And really you should be doing way better than that if you want to be successful in earning that CPA designation. I'm almost done my portion of the presentation. Okay, so this is just a profile from one of our students. So he just fits our profile so well because Sanjesh really was working in his family business and he couldn't have earned his BCom anywhere else because he needed that flexibility. So I'm sure many of you are in that same position. So I'll have this contact information up after as well, but this is our Student Support Center contact information. So as I mentioned, Faculty of Business has Student Support Center where it's your one-stop center for everything you need. Any question you have about your programs or your courses in business all come through here. You could fill out an online contact form as well. There's the email address, website, and they're available every day but Saturday. So you'll see they're even available tonight till 8:30. So if you have a question after the webinar is over that you didn't think of to ask, but it comes to you after, you can certainly still call in or contact them and get help with your questions. And of course, we have all our social media connections. One thing I'd encourage you to do if you are an AU student with us is to download the AU Students Union app. Okay, if you haven't heard of that one yet, it's a very important one. It has a chat feature on there that everyone loves to use and helps you stay connected with your student body and other people going through the same things as you. So which is sometimes a struggle in distance education. You can sometimes feel alone and out there on your own. So make sure you take advantage of those connections. So again, that's that AU Students Union app. And it connects you to all the different things you need as well, like your MyAU portal, undergrad orientation, wellness, and events, so all kinds of different things. One of the features we find students really use a lot is that chat feature on there. And then again, Facebook groups and LinkedIn groups and all of those different connections as well. Okay, so with that, I am going to pass it over to Erica. And I thank you again for coming tonight with such lovely weather outside and all of you for attending. So I will just hand this over to Erica.
Thanks, Cheryl. I'm presuming I have control, maybe? Let's see.
Yes, yeah.
Thinking about it.
I did see it. It's just a delay sometimes. But I see the mouse moving, so I know you have it. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. So hi everyone, thank you for coming. I know it is a beautiful day, hopefully across Canada, but especially here in Alberta. So thanks for coming, spending your evening with us. I do work for CPA Alberta, so I'll try and keep the information general to those of you that are not currently in Alberta. And it's relatively the same across the country, so it shouldn't be too difficult. I do work in business development here at CPA Alberta, so essentially my job is to educate the post-secondaries on how to access CPA and what steps they need to take. So we'll get started on that. So CPA, and Cheryl mentioned, it's the Chartered Professional Accountants. We are of Alberta. Each province has their own regulatory body. Essentially, each regulatory body regulates the profession, and we protect the public interest. So we make sure that all of our members are adhering to the ethical standards that we require. We have about 210,000 members across Canada, and there's about 29,500 here in Alberta. You may have also heard of the CPA Western School of Business, or CPASB. Out here in the West, we do have a separate school that actually delivers the education program for us, and they deliver it to all 4 of the Western provinces. So you might see 2 websites out there. It's not to be confused. Essentially, they do just deliver all the program. We work very, very closely together. Our goal is essentially to get you to be a CPA and kind of help you along that whole journey. So you may have contact with both of us out here. I believe we're one of the only provinces that has a combined school. Many of the other provinces, I know like Ontario, they do theirs through the regulatory body. I think it just depends on the province itself, but we do have a combined one out here for the West. So I wanted to profile a couple of different things that you can do with your CPA designation. So if any of you have ever thought of becoming an entrepreneur, the CPA definitely gives you all of those skills that you would need to set up and maintain your business. This here is Sam. Sam worked for PwC while she was getting her designation, and she decided to start her own business because she felt that she had the skills to set up that business and maintain it. Essentially, if you are an entrepreneur, you tend to be a one-man band for at least a couple of years, and having your CPA gives you all those business skills to start that business and maintain that. Sam no longer works at PwC. Actually, she moved to London last year in December and took a job there. So she's in my motherland, jolly old England. And that's another point for the CPA. It is definitely transferable. It's accepted in many countries throughout the world. So if you have plans of traveling, it's definitely a really great way to take a career with you, if you will. So you wouldn't necessarily have to start over in each country. This is Sam's product. It is available through pop-up shops, but she started in Calgary. She started just online. It's now available throughout Alberta, but it just shows what you can do with the skills of a CPA. And Sam loves doing different parts of work. So she loves being in public practice, which is what she's in right now in England, but she loves the kind of the diversity of what she can do, because she can do her own business and she can also do in the public field as well. So some options there for you. And so why CPA? So CPA does give you a lot more than just accounting. Accounting's changed a lot over the last 10 years or so, and it's definitely become a much more, modern is probably the wrong word, but it's definitely become a much more relevant occupation. And there's so many different things now to accounting. It's not just sitting in a back room plugging in numbers. There's so many different opportunities that you could do. Here's a couple of examples. So following your passion, like maybe you have a really big passion for hockey, like why not combine it and be an accountant for a hockey team? Someone has to do it, right? So why not do something that you love with the skills that you have? You will get a very powerful skill set with CPA. It's not just academics. You do also get many soft skills, so leadership skills, professional skills, analytical thinking, critical thinking. They're all a very big part of CPA, and they are what's required in the modern business world. We do like to say that CPA is a business credential with accounting language. So you are essentially set up for anything in business, and you will have those skills to be able to talk about accounting, especially if you need to explain it to people that are not accounting. So maybe someone in a higher up position that doesn't really look at the numbers, you have to be in a position to be able to talk about the numbers to them in a way that they understand. So CPA does give you that. CPAs are also very in demand, and because we are a regulated profession and we are a regulated designation, we do have ethical standards, like I mentioned before. We do hold you to those. And that's why you are in demand, because employers know that when they do have a CPA within their company, they know that you're adhering to those expectations and you're going to be ethical in your work. Work anywhere in the world. I know I mentioned that it is very global. It is recognized by IFRS. There's so many different countries that you could take the CPA to. Typically speaking, we have quite a few recognition agreements with certain countries, quite a few countries. Typically, it's a straight out swap. Sometimes you'd have to do, depending on what you're working in, you may have to do, say, a tax course, because obviously tax is different in every country. But for the most part, it's very, very similar, and it's almost just kind of switched out. The same way we accept designations here, they would be accepted in the world as well. and make a positive difference. Like, there's nothing to say you can't do charitable work with your CPA. There's so many different options. We have quite a few that are in the humanitarian sector. It's definitely a great and rewarding option if that's what you choose to do. So this is specific to Alberta, but it might give you an idea of the breakdown of the industries, and I'll go over those a little more in a second. But right now in accounting, there's probably 4 main industries within accounting. So you have industry itself, which is essentially looking at your own internal company's records, and you're not looking outside. We have about 52% here that are in industry, so just over half. Public accounting is where you work for a company that looks at other companies' tax records and does audit for them. We have about 32% here. And then 10% in government, which is obviously anything for the government, and 4% in education, so your professors, etc. And then about 2% in contract services if you're contracted there. Like I said, this is Alberta. It does vary across the country, but it's just to give you kind of an idea. And then we'll go through what the actual sectors are. You may have heard of some of these companies. These are typical industry employers. So you would be an accountant for, say, if you're an accountant for United Way, I know that's pretty global, pretty national. You would be an accountant for United Way. You would be looking at your own internal company's records. Essentially, you're not looking and you're not consulting for anyone outside. So that's what we mean by industry employers. This is a very, very small snapshot, as you can tell by my little bounce animation there. But yeah, very, very small snapshot. There's so many more, and there'll be many different ones, obviously, across Canada. Some of these are specific to Alberta, but there's going to be similar in different provinces too. And then public practice. So you'll probably have heard of some of these. These are, or a lot of them are across Canada and global. You have what we call the Big Four, so KPMG, Deloitte, EY, and PwC. They are our Big Four. They are all global companies. We also have some smaller ones, such as Crowe Mackay, MMP, Collins Barrow, and Grant Thornton. These are all also national, but these are some smaller companies. But these would look at other people's or other companies' records, and they would do audit for those companies. So it's all external practice. So just to kind of give you an idea of that sector. And then you have your public sector. So post-secondaries, obviously these are specific to Alberta, but across Canada, for your public sector, your government. So we have Government of Canada, and obviously your specific provincial government. But yeah, that's what we mean by public sector. I'm going to go a little bit over the program now. So steps to getting started. The first thing that we do actually recommend that you do is to register with the CPA Western School of Business or the CPA school that's in your area. I don't know it for every province, but I know for, say, Ontario, it is with actual CPA Ontario. But you would register, make a profile, and it's more to keep you connected with the profession. If you do have a profile, you will get notified of events, and we'll go over the importance of events later, but you would get notified of things like that. You would also see any changes that kind of happen within the profession. So it's just a really good idea to kind of stay connected with CPA, just so you can kind of see what's going on. And if there's any changes, you would be aware of that. And then this is a similar document to what Cheryl showed you before. So essentially, this is kind of a high-level overview of how to get the CPA. So earn an undergrad degree in business or commerce with a major in accounting. If you didn't do that, like Cheryl was saying, you could also do, we accept any degree as long as it's 120 credit hours. But you would also have to take prerequisite courses to make up the difference. And we'll go over some of those in a little bit, but that's essentially you end up with a degree and the prerequisites, or a degree in the prerequisites. So as long as you have all of those, that's what it takes to enroll into CPA. So once you're enrolled, it's about a 2-year program. You do structure your own schedule, so it could be slightly quicker, it could be slightly longer. You have 6 years to complete all of the academic portion and all of the practical experience, and I'll go over that a little bit more in the next couple of slides. But you do have 6 years to satisfy all of the requirements. You need to write and pass the Common Final Exam, or the CFE. We really do love our acronyms, but that's what CFE stands for, Common Final Exam. It is a 3-day exam. It's not as scary as it sounds, I promise. And after that, once you're past that, you would need your practical experience, and I will go over that in more detail later. This is the same guide that Cheryl showed you before. It is on here. This does change quite often, and typically it's not the content that changes. Sometimes the course code will be renamed, or they'll change it around, like the content, the course coverage. So just keep an eye on this. This is always up to date on our website and each province's website. This is the website, the first place that we update this. So you can see, I know Cheryl went over some of the passing grades. Yes, it's really important to do your best. The absolute minimum we would accept. So for the courses that you can see, the non-core courses that are highlighted white, essentially, those you just need to pass those. So you need a 50%. And the ones in green, we do need a 60% with an overall GPA of 65%. That is the absolute minimum. To be successful, as Cheryl said, I would absolutely aim higher. The core courses, the ones that are in green, they need to have been taken in the last 10 years. If they have not, you wouldn't have the course coverage and you wouldn't have the knowledge of what you would need for CPA. So that's something to also consider. If some of your courses, say if you did them in a previous diploma, etc., if they are getting to that 10-year limit, that's also something to consider and plan for. So this is a professional education program, or CPA PEP. Essentially, once you have all of your prerequisites, you would be here at this grey box. So you'd have your degree and you'd have the prerequisites to get into the program. Then you would start on the 6 modules. So we have Core 1 and Core 2. So they're both 8 weeks long. They both have an exit exam. They both cover 6 competency areas. So financial reporting, strategy and governance, management accounting, audit and assurance, finance and taxation. Core 1, while it will go over all 6, it will have a focus on financial reporting. And Core 2 will also go over all 6, but it'll have a focus on management accounting. This actually gives you an idea of where you might enjoy working. Core 1, typically, a lot of people that want to be in public practice will really enjoy Core 1. For people that want to be in industry, typically they enjoy Core 2. Industry tends to have a management accounting focus. It's more forward planning and kind of that business side, whereas Core 1 is typically looking back at, say, tax and audit. It's not strictly those, but it just gives you a good idea of where you may like to work, and it'll give you a good idea of what you actually enjoy. All of these modules, they build on what you've already learned at university. So it's not the same courses, but it does build on that knowledge, but it teaches you a different way of thinking, and it teaches you those soft skills as well. You have a choice of 4 electives. Again, your electives are 8 weeks long. There is an exit exam for those as well. So you have assurance, finance, performance management, and taxation. If you know that you want to be in public accounting, you have to take assurance and tax. You have to be able to sign off on audits. So you wouldn't be able to unless you had done those 2 courses. So it's kind of the only stipulation. You'd have to take those if you want to be in public accounting. If you know that you don't, then you can pick whatever combination you want to. But that's just a heads up for you there. All of these modules, they are online. You are given, say, weekly assignments. You'll have a facilitator. You'll also be able to talk to other students that are taking the course. But for each one, there is an in-person workshop that is mandatory. Those dates are posted a year in advance on our website or on each province's respective website. And it is really important that you attend those. After that, you have 2 modules for Capstone 1 and Capstone 2. Capstone 1 is a bigger version of a case competition, if anyone's ever done one of those. But you are put into a group of people that you don't know. And the idea behind that is that you don't get to pick your colleagues, but you still need to work with them in a professional manner. So you put into a group, you're given a case to solve, and you have 8 weeks. And at the end of the 8 weeks, you will give a group presentation, and you will do that all together. But that's the one that's looking at your leadership skills, your professional skills, your analytical thinking, critical thinking. It is a presentation, and it is really, really important, but it really does develop the soft skills side of what you would need to work in kind of the modern business world. There's no exam for that one, but the presentation is kind of your exam. And then Capstone 2, it is a refresher of the whole program, and it also gives you a lot of practice at case writing. Case writing is really important. There's a lot of casework in this common final exam. So the more cases you get access to and practice on, the better it is. After that, once you pass the CC, so the common final exam, that is 3 days. It's 4 hours the first day, 5 hours the second day, and 4 hours the third day. We do let you go home at the end of each day. I get asked that question a lot. We don't make you sleep there. But yeah, that's the common final exam. After that, you would be on your way to getting the designation. And the reason I say that is because you do need your practical experience. We allow up to 12 months of experience with relevant competencies that you earn prior to Core 1. Once you've entered Core 1, your work experience counts as current. Anything before that counts as prior. So we allow up to 12 months prior in the immediate 5.5 years before you register for Core 1. After that, you have to have 18 months of current experience whilst you're in the program or after the program. So that's why we give you 6 years. And so you have 6 years to complete everything from Core 1, so all your academic, the exam, plus the 30 months of practical experience, so 2.5 years of practical experience. But you must get 18 months whilst you're in the program or after the program. So I'll give you the registration dates. I purposely leave these up, and I put as many up as I can just to show you kind of the timeline. So for, say, a May 4th start, you actually register in February. So keep an eye on those dates. It's typically 3 to 4 months before the module starts. So make sure that you have, say, a transcript assessment done. And I'll go over that in a little bit, but you'll need a transcript assessment done before that time, and then you actually have to submit your application. People think the transcript assessment part is the most important. The actual important piece is the actual application to join the Core 1. Core 1's only offered 3 times a year, so we have spring, fall, and winter. So our next offering right now is going to be a start date of October 19th, and the registration period for that starts July 8th. So my recommendation for those of you that are already on that, do your transcript assessment for June, make sure that's done, and submit your registration, your application in July to start in October. So transcript assessment you do need to have done by the CPA Western School of Business, and that's typically when you have all of your courses, obviously your prerequisites. You can apply, you can register for Core 1 whilst you're in your last semester. You don't have to wait till you're finished, but you will need to send a final copy of your transcripts once your degree is conferred. For those of you that do have international transcripts, international education, you will need to get a third-party verification from WES or ICLAS, as well as a transcript assessment from either the CPA Western School of Business or your respective province. And so those 2 pieces are really important for international education. So practical experience requirements, I know I've done a little bit of this, but you do need a minimum of 30 months. You must report to a supervisor. Your supervisor does not need to be a CPA. You will need to record detailed reports at certain intervals, and you will need to meet and discuss your progress at least semi-annually with a CPA mentor, and your experience will be assessed by the profession. There's actually a couple of different ways to get your practical experience. There are pre-approved program routes. So essentially these are employers that have worked with CPA in each province, and they already have these roles established to ensure that you get all of the competencies that you require to satisfy your practical experience requirements. We have no hand in placing you in these roles. They are offered by an employer, and you would apply for them like you would any other job. It's just that the work has already been done for you to make sure you satisfy your competencies on that, and it's already been pre-approved by the profession. So essentially, when you came to report on your experience, the actual description has already been done, and you would just have to give yourself a rating, as well as your supervisor would have to. There is a list of Alberta PPRs on our website, and I will give you a link at the end to go to that, and then each province should have their own list. There's also, this is an example of a couple of practical experience PPR routes, if you will. So some of them you may recognize, some of them may be strictly Alberta, but it just gives you kind of an idea. There is quite a lot, and that list is growing of how many there are out there. So it's definitely a really great way to satisfy your practical experience. but it's not the only way. So the other way is the experience verification route. So this is essentially where you work for an employer of your choice, and you just have to make sure that you're getting the competencies yourself. It's not too difficult to do. You just have to make sure you're planning and make sure you're getting the suitable work to satisfy each competency. And there is a list and a very detailed explanation of all our competencies on each province's website, and it's under the practical experience tab. And there is a practical experience team as well that can help you with that if you are confused. This is a really great way if you've been working for an employer for, say, 5-10 years and you built up your vacation time and you like where you work. You don't have to leave to get your experience. You can work with your current employer, and you can satisfy your practical experience this way. So it just gives you more options, especially if you have worked there for a long time and you really like working there. It's just a really great way. But it just means that reporting wise, you'd have to do a little bit more in the reporting. You'd have to put in the descriptions of what you're doing, and the onus is on you to get your competencies in. About 50% of CPA candidates actually get their experience through this. And it used to be the only way, so it's definitely a great way, and it gets you to the same point as the PPR routes. It's just a different way to satisfy the requirements. That's all. Tips for success, we do like to throw this in. Like I said, CPA or accounting in general has changed. And to be part of the modern business world, there's certain things that can really help you. Things like having like a fresh resume and cover letter, that's really important, especially when you are going to, say, career fairs and when you're applying for jobs. Volunteer, join clubs. It really does show when you have you've been in a club or you volunteered for something. But if you do that, make sure that it's something that you enjoy. Don't just do it for the sake of doing it, because when you talk about it in interviews, it shows if you loved it. So definitely do that. A lot of employers now are looking for well-roundedness. It's not all about academics anymore. So make sure you're keeping your options open with things like that and different skills. Attend career fairs, be prepared. Always dress professionally. I once went to a career fair where someone approached me in a giraffe onesie. Now, we don't hire. We were there as an education advisor. However, it didn't look great to us, so it definitely won't to an employer. Networking. I cannot stress enough how important networking is. Everything in business these days is all about networking. Make sure you have LinkedIn and make sure you're using it for professional reasons. But networking is going to be key. Attend as many events as you can. But making a profile, you will be aware of events that we do, and I'm sure Athabasca University also does events too. So make sure you're getting yourselves involved in things like that, and make sure you are networking. Ask your contacts to meet for coffee. It goes a really long way, and it shows that you're taking the time and you're really interested in someone, and you never know where that may lead. So I've probably been invited for, 10 coffees since I started here at CPA, and I remember details about them, such as their sister's name or their dog's name, just because I take the time to remember, because they take the time to ask me about my career. So I do think it's really important. It really does go a long, long way. So just to recap, your pathway to CPA, you would earn a degree and complete your prerequisites, or a combination of both. Complete the CPA Professional Education Program, or CPA PEP, and then you would satisfy your practical experience requirements. So in a nutshell, that's kind of the high-level overview of your path. I will go over a little bit on ACAP, the Advanced Certificate in Accounting and Finance, because I know Cheryl did mention it. ACAP is a really great certificate program. If you are not sure that you want to go CPA, if you are looking for intermediate level positions, it's a really great certificate. It is recognized across Canada, and it is a really great way to get your feet wet into accounting, or if you're changing careers mid-career, it's a really great way to get your foot in the door of accounting, and you will get those mid-tier positions, but it is a really great way to get that accounting experience. And then it also connects to CPA PEP. So if you decided once you had your ACAP that you actually wanted to continue and get your CPA, you could actually bridge that. So you don't have to start all over again and do something different. 11 of the 14 courses for PEP, the prereqs, are actually the same. So as you can see from this chart here, we have entry courses, we have technical courses. These are offered through post-secondaries. Athabasca does have all of these. And then the applied courses, Athabasca does have most of them. And like Cheryl said before, by the time you actually get to applied courses, they would be built by then, because there is 11 courses, right? So all of these combined, it does make the ACAP. There is an ACAP national exam which you would take through CPA, but like I said, 11 of these courses are the same as the prereqs for PEP, and it really does help you if you are not ready for CPA PEP. CPA PEP is quite an intense program. It's designed to be as a designation. It's on a par with passing the bar as a lawyer. So it is quite intense, and especially if you are changing careers mid-career, or you're not interested in being a CEO, you just want like a really good job. So those intermediate level positions, ACAP is a really great tool for that. It also does help if you're internationally training, you don't have any Canadian experience, it can definitely help you with that. So something to think about. These are the difference in the courses. So the only ones that are not the same is economics, statistics, and performance management. So if you ever decided once you had your ACAP that you did want to go into PEP, you would just have to take those 3 courses. So something to think about, especially if you don't think you're ready for CPA PEP. It's definitely a really great option as well, and it is recognized across Canada. Plus, you don't need a degree for this. It is a certificate program, but it will get you that really great experience. We do have scholarships available as a company. So out here in Alberta, we do have the CPA Education Foundation. Each province has something similar. It may not be called that, but scholarships are available through CPA, and we offer these to post-secondary students in a business stream, and we offer them to high school students as well. The deadline is the same for us here in Alberta every year. It's always the last day of February. So for the next one, it's going to be 2020. You can apply now. You can apply all year, but it's free money. Who doesn't want that? And we do have quite a few available. Even if you don't think you qualify for the eligibility, because each scholarship has a different eligibility, apply for them all. We get so few applicants, and we have a lot of money to give away. So definitely have a look into those as well. Here's some past recipients that we've had, and as you can see, the monetary value is quite significant. You can see Sam that I mentioned earlier. She was one of our recipients. She got $3,500. So they are quite significant, and like I said, who doesn't want free money, right? So we do have an event coming up in September. I'm sure each province has something similar, but we do a very big career fair here in Alberta every year. We usually have about 40 to 45 employers, and essentially it's on neutral ground. We host it, so all the employers that are in kind of accounting, they will come and they're looking to recruit. It's also a really good way to network. It's also a really good way to get your feet wet in the sense of putting yourself out there and being in a professional setting. You can see the dates here. We do have it in Edmonton, Lethbridge, and Calgary. For those of you that are not in Alberta, I'd strongly recommend checking with your own province to see what events they have on. But it's a really great opportunity if you are looking for work experience. It's a really great way to meet some employers. We have all our handles here. We became cool last year, and we got Instagram here. So keep in touch with us. We do post a lot on our Instagram and our Twitter, and our LinkedIn, and our Facebook. So it's definitely a great way to connect with us. And we do love when you guys connect with us and you can ask us those questions. This is my information should you need it, and I've also included a link here. So anything I've talked about today, you can find that link. This link is not posted online. It's purely for those that come to the webinars, and it just makes it easier. So anything we talked about, like practical experience and the transfer credit guide, everything like that is all together in that link, and then you can find that there. And then you have my contact information as well. That's it for me. I'm going to hang around for questions, but for right now, I will pass it back to Cheryl.
Okay, great. Thanks, Erica. Yeah, I'm still trying to picture that giraffe onesie.
Yeah, it was quite interesting.
That's a good one.
It would have been nice. Like, it was really nice, but it wasn't really the appropriate setting.
Yeah. Okay. So hopefully everybody got a good laugh out of that one. So yeah, now it is time for any of your questions that maybe weren't answered throughout the presentation, and we'll do our best to answer those for you. Let's see. So we do have a few in here already, so hopefully I get this right, but I'll try not to butcher your name here, but it's Panada or Panada. What was the employment rate last year of people graduating from this program with CPA? Because I know that a lot of companies don't recognize the online school, but I'm very interested. Thanks. Okay, so I guess this is a question for me then from an AU standpoint. So what was the employment rate last year of people graduating from this program with CPA? Oh, well, I'm not sure. Do you know, Erica, how many graduated with their CPA from our institution? You would only have the
I
Alberta data anyway.
actually we CPA Canada, they don't actually release that information even to the provinces. They
Yeah.
do a general of how many pass, but they don't do it province-wide, mostly because it pitches too much competition between the schools. Yeah, they don't actually release that information.
Okay.
Typically, the the CP pass rate is out there on their website, I believe, but for each institution they don't. Yeah, so unfortunately, no, I don't know the answer.
Yeah, so I can tell you too, just some information on our end from Athabasca University's standpoint is accounting is our largest program next to nursing. We have a lot of accounting students, and I just know from talking to them that they tend to do very well. And I think the reason for that is because with our institution, when you're taking your accounting courses, for example, and all those prerequisite courses that we showed you, you have to cover everything. You're covering all the content in all those courses, and if you're getting those minimum pass rates, you're ensuring you're covering all of that in great detail. And I think that's why our students do perform so well. It's because they've covered that all. Whereas in a classroom course, you know, your professors will sometimes tell you, oh, focus on this or this won't be on the test. You essentially have to know it all with us. You don't know what's going to be on our test. You don't know. And we also have in our accounting courses, and some of them is LIFA labs. So you're actually doing online questions and tailors it. And it's really great experience. And I think that's another reason why our students do so well. Our students, I should highlight this actually. Let me just get out of this presentation and show you. Because our students actually performed very well at the CPA. Where is it now? Oh, we just had our accounting conference too. Here we go. The CPA Business Challenge.
I actually went to this event and I was having dinner with the AU team, and they did amazingly well. They really did.
Yeah, people were really impressed with them. And
Mm-hmm.
let's see, so the team got finished second place
They
and
did.
got a check for $5,000. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then that same team actually went on to do the Dean's Business Case competition the next week and won first place. So just because you're doing a distance education, and just like to stress, like it's not that it's worth less or less valued. I think people are definitely recognizing the value of Athabasca University more and more, for sure. And we've really
I
worked
think
hard, yeah, to increase that reputation and that credibility. And we've been working with everyone, every association, every college, every university. So we do have those connections everywhere. Our students are performing well.
I used to assess the transcripts for CPA Ontario, and I wouldn't look at an Athabasca transcript any differently than I would look at any other institution. They are a
Yeah.
recognized university. Like, yeah, it's no different to CPA, and it's no different in the employment world either.
Right, exactly. Along with that, students will often ask me for advice too when they are applying for positions, are building their resumes and that sort of thing. And if it looks any worse to people, and I would just stress again, it is all how you present yourself. I mean, there are so many positive aspects to doing your education online. You have to focus on the positive things and show them your strengths because of the way you had to do that. So, your determination, your perseverance, your ability to be independent, an independent learner, all those are
The
very
management.
strong traits. Yeah. So again, it's all in how you view it and how you present yourself as well. Okay, so Etta asks a question here. I am leaning towards the online MBA for executives. So sorry, I didn't cover that tonight. Is there an overlap of the MBA and CPA programs, or more precisely, once you have completed the MBA program, is credit applied for the CPA requirements, especially if a previous degree is not within the accounting or business fields? So a short answer to that is yes. So if you go on our business website, so right now that's where I am, business.athabascau.ca. It will get you right to the main page, and you can go to the MBA program. You'll see there's information here for accountants or CPAs. So we do certainly recognize that CPA designation, and you get a couple of advanced courses in that. So it really depends too on if you hold a degree or not, but you'll want to cover that off as well and read this information. That covers the different routes here as well. So see, if you hold your designation already, you may be able to finish your MBA for up to 6 months faster. So there's an accelerated MBA for accountants. So you get credit, transfer credit for 9 credits, so 3 courses of the program. So definitely you're at an advantage if you do have that CPA already. And yeah, you can check into that some more in some more detail, or you can contact us after for more details as well. Okay, and Jessica asks, are the courses of AU's become recognized by the Ontario CPA? Yes, yeah, as we highlighted, like it's the same thing. And actually that prereq guide that we showed you is the same across Canada. So I'll go back to that for you. So it is on our website, it's on the CPA's website. And if you go to any of the provincial websites, you should be able to find that guide. Sometimes it's hard to find our institution on those lists simply because Ontario, for example, lists Ontario institutions. But it's not that we're not part of that. It's all these courses are still recognized by all those associations, regardless of which province you're in. It's the same guide.
Typically, each province will map it to local institutions, but they will accept institutions like worldwide and across Canada. It's just they physically can't write out every school because it's too many. But yeah, they definitely accept Athabasca, mostly because I used to do the transcripts for Ontario. So yeah, we definitely do accept those. And the course code should essentially be the same. You just might not be able to get the same table, if you will.
Right, exactly. Okay, there's not too many questions tonight. Okay, we have one here again. Sumaya, I'm sorry, I probably really mispronouncing your name. Is it possible to earn a bachelor's in accounting at AU and then continue a CPA certification in a different country? Okay, so your BCom with us is recognized as an undergraduate bachelor's degree in Canada. So then if you want to transfer that to another country, I believe it would be similar like we do here. If you were to bring in a degree from somewhere else here, we would want you to get that IQAS assessment or foreign assessment just to convert that and verify for us that that is a credible degree. But in terms of how you would continue a CPA certification, maybe Erica can touch on
Yeah.
that part.
So just to clarify on that, to earn a CPA, you would have to be resident in Canada. Every country has some, or most countries have some kind of accounting designation, but it's not always CPA. It could be equivalent, but the CPA program itself is only in Canada. The US has a program called CPA. It's not quite the same, but we do have a recognition with them. But to earn CPA, it's Canadian, and you do have to be resident in Canada. You can be in any province, but you do need to be resident in Canada to do that. You may be able to take your bachelor and earn a different designation in a different country, but it wouldn't be CPA.
Great, thanks, Erica. Okay. So again, like all this information is on our website, and it was in that download. But if you ever need to keep track of this guide or want to keep an eye on it, certainly go to business.athabascau.ca and all the information's there. We also have the information about obtaining the ACAF and what we have available. So as I mentioned, like some of our applied courses, to satisfy those applied courses, some of those are in development. So as they become available, we're kind of listing them here. So you'll see like we have the applied personal and corporate tax available, and we have the applied corporate finance available now. And I know we're working desperately to get the ethics one done. And what's the other one? The applied external auditing I know is really on the go too. So well, we're working on getting those going. But like we said, you do have to have the prerequisites, have to have the technical courses, and those are all listed for you here too as to what those are with us. You'll see there's some overlap, so it's not that you're taking some of these again, is that they kind of meet part of the coverage for some of the next ones. Okay, so I'll just give it a few more minutes here to make sure there aren't any other questions coming in. Again, the Student Support Center will be available as well tonight to answer any questions you have, or you can certainly reply to either of us as well. I should put our contact info back on here. So again, the Student Support Center. So I mentioned that online contact form as well, the email and the phone number. Okay, there is another question coming in. Okay, so when doing quizzes and exams, are they 100% online? Okay, so it really does depend on your course as to how that course is graded and evaluated and what's required of it. So some of the quizzes, usually the quizzes they don't need to be supervised or invigilated. You're doing those online, or I think that's probably why you're asking this question, but those quizzes are done within the course itself or submitted that way. Exams, not all of them are online, no, especially ones like finance, because they'll have math equations and stuff to write out and formulas. So we haven't got to that point yet where some of those can be online. But if you go to any of the courses, I'll just show you some. You look at the syllabus, it'll tell you. So before you ever register in a course, you should be looking at the syllabus. So the first course in accounting that you should really be taking is Introductory Financial Accounting, or Accounting 253. So if you click on that, you will see, if you scroll down, so it tells you if there's prereqs, tells you who offers it, gives you an overview of the course and what it covers. Gives you the outline, so all the lessons and chapters you'll be covering in that course. And then here's the important part as well, as the evaluation, so how it's graded. So you have to pay special attention to this because this has hung up students before. They'll think, well, I passed the course, I passed it with a 50 or 60 even or higher. And let's say, but they don't pass the exam. So sometimes there's a minimum you need on the final as well as all your minimum course grade. So you really have to be watching that. So for example, this one needs at least a 50 on the final, and you also have to have an average mark of 80 on the online LIFA labs. So I mentioned those labs already. Those are easy. You can keep redoing them. So you just redo them until you get 80% or higher, and the practice really helps you as well. And you need an overall grade of 50. So it's not good enough to just do the coursework. You still need a 50 on that final. And the reason for some of that with our exams, the final will be worth more than you'll see at some other institutions. And that is because the nature of distance education. We really, again, it's to protect our reputation and credibility. we're ensuring those exams are invigilated and supervised, so we know you're the one taking that exam and you're the one that knows that course coverage. And that's why the exams are generally more heavily weighted as well. And then it should tell you, so this exam is actually written in a pen and paper format. It's not online. So accounting and finance ones are usually that way. It'll also tell you about the textbook, if it's an e-text or a print-based, or if a print one's available, which it is. So you'd have to purchase that separately on your own if you want to print one. That's the only thing. So yeah, and online exams aren't a big deal either, because you can actually do those at several locations, and you can also do them on at home now, because we have set up an invigilator called ProctorU, where if you have a webcam and a minimum internet connection, you'll be able to write your exam right online, and they'll supervise you from where they are. It's pretty cool. Actually, lots of students are using that. It's very timely. And then we have the whole exam network throughout Canada that's set up. So if there's a few in your area, you want to be checking those out, because they will charge you a fee to invigilate your exams if you go somewhere. And they sometimes charge per exam, sometimes charge per hour. So if you have a choice, it's nice to know what your choices are and where you can get a better deal. And if you write at our centers in our Edmonton or Calgary office or here in Athabasca, you don't pay those invigilation fees because it's our own staff giving those then. But otherwise, there's those fees. And yeah, ProctorU if it's an online exam, or you can write at any of those exam centers already specified on our site. Okay, so check those out. Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer for you, so hopefully I answered you. But it really does depend on the course as to whether they're online or not. And that's another reason why once you get a feel for how the exams work and what's required, how to set them up. So I don't want you starting with too many if at all possible, just so you don't feel overwhelmed when you do have to do that the first time. Once you do it once or twice, you'll really get the hang of it. Okay, Chelsea is asking, due to CPA's vast recognition worldwide, would you say that the job availability is pretty consistent once you reach your CPA qualification? A lot of industries are struggling with job availability, so I wonder if demand is there and will it still be there in the coming years? I realize this isn't an exact science, but in your opinion, thank you. So that would be for you,
Um,
Erica.
yeah, so the demand is definitely still there. In some areas of accounting, there's actually a shortage. Accounting is changing. I know we've mentioned that, but it's changing even more. So with things like data analytics coming in, and robotics and AI, it's definitely an interesting time in accounting. Um, a lot of people think that robotics, etc., is going to replace accountants. It's not. It's going to take away the tasks that accountants were never supposed to do in the first place, such as data entry, things like that. Accountants were never supposed to be doing that. It's just there was no one to do it, right? So accounting, robotics and AI is actually going to make accounting easier and allow accountants to focus on higher level things that they should have been doing in the interim. There are some areas where there is shortages for accounting, but I don't see accounting going away. If anything, it's getting stronger. And the old saying, I think it was Benjamin Franklin, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was Ben Franklin. He said there's only two things sure in life, and that's death and taxes. You need accountants in every aspect of business. So no, there's definitely accounting is not going away, and there's definitely job security there. And accountants are definitely in demand. Hopefully that answered the question. Like you said, it's no exact science, but yeah, we're seeing accounting grow from strength to strength, really, and we're seeing more and more roles become available.
Yeah, it's really like any career, I'd say. Things are always
Mhm.
changing. It's how you adapt and develop out of that change, right? That makes a difference.
Yeah, and there's so many different aspects to accounting and what they can do. It doesn't necessarily have to be accounting as such. There's so many different aspects of business that CPAs can work in. So it definitely is opening a lot of doors for CPAs, especially because it's a regulated profession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the AI stuff is really becoming huge. I know we've been
Yeah,
looking at lots of that on our end as well.
it's a really interesting time right now in accounting. So it'd be
Mm,
nice to see what happens.
yeah. Okay. That was our last question so far.
Quite a few tonight. It's nice.
Yeah, that's good. So again, I mentioned how to apply, and I mentioned you can find that anywhere. If you're on our business website too, here's how to apply. It's basically the snapshot that I had on my slide. It's really simple. You just go click on the link. Okay, so I think that is it. Everybody's probably anxious to get going and get on with their evenings. Again, I just want to thank you all for attending. It's a very important step, and I'm glad you're all looking into this now because it is a longer road, and you want to know you're taking the right steps. You don't want to take any side steps or any longer paths than you have to. So certainly, if you ever have any questions along the way, just give us a call or contact us, however you like, and we'll do our best to help you earn that CPA designation or maybe an ACAP or certificate or degree. So again, thanks Erica for helping me present tonight. It's always
Yeah, thanks for
a
having
nice
me.
time. Yeah, we always get a few laughs out of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you to all of you and have a good evening. Thanks everyone.